Yes, boys and girls, hope all of you are doing well today. What a day it's been for Chelsea. It's been hectic, all sorts of news flying out left, right, and centre from all these journalists. And obviously, the Chelsea win, which was very controversial, which we're going to touch on in a second. And then we need to get into some of the news regarding certain players, certain injuries, which are unfortunate, which again I'll touch on shortly. I think there's only one place to start, obviously, with the Chelsea game that we did play today against Fulham, where we did win 2-0, which obviously 3 points, which you take on the day. Did we deserve it? That is something that we are going to be debating for a very long time because we played well in the second half. First half was absolutely abysmal, and there were some VAR decisions that did go our way, such as the disallowed goal in the first half. I think it was the 21st minute. Beautiful goal from Josh King. Beautiful finish, got the ball on the left-hand side, came in, caught Sanchez out. Bob's your uncle is 1-0 until the referee made the decision to call a foul on Trevor Chalobah from Rodrigo Muniz. Rodrigo Muniz attempted a Cruyff turn and in the process accidentally treaded on his foot and ruled out the goal due to a foul. He said it was a careless challenge. Now, I like to be honest, I like to be fair, but yeah, I like to be honest, I like to be fair. That wasn't a foul. That wasn't a foul. Like, it wasn't really a careless challenge because intention of even touching Chalobah. I didn't even know he was there. And treading on someone's foot shouldn't be a foul, if we're being honest. Like, in football, you're going to get hurt. You're going to have them kind of accidents. And it was a weird decision from the referee, if I'm being 100% honest. Like, it was a poor decision, should I say, not weird. But yeah, we got the goal ruled out, and we were let off because, as I say, in that first half, we were poor. Like, giving the ball away, the midfield was getting overrun. Enzo Fernandez, I thought, had a poor game despite the goal and the assist. He had a very bad game. For me, he was the worst player on the pitch in terms of the Chelsea side. The defence looked good, but going forward, nothing really was like cohesive. We weren't really like creating many patterns of play. We became a bit too predictable in the first half, up until the 53rd or the 54th minute, where man like Joao Pedro strikes again and he gets the goal. Beautiful header. Are we turning into Corner FC, guys? We might actually be turning into Corner FC. I'm not even gonna lie. Like, how many corners is that? We scored 3 against West Ham the other day. Scored 1 today. Beautiful ball in. Joao Pedro leaps up, heads the ball into the back of the net. And we needed that because the game was, I didn't want to go in half time at 0-0 because I know what's going to happen. We've seen this story before. Obviously we go in 0-0, get the team where we should be winning. And the other team gets confidence, comes at us, and we go on to lose the game. I think Chelsea, one thing I've learned about Chelsea is we always struggle to get that first goal. But once we do get that first goal, the game opens up and it becomes even easier. Because I think we do so much better when the teams come at us and are trying to get a goal because they have more space in behind. We hit them on a counter. And that's what happened today. I know we only scored one other goal after the Joao Pedro goal. It was a penalty, obviously, from Enzo Fernandez. But we look better. We done way better than we did in the first half. We were creating stuff. We were moving. It was free-flowing football. And it just looked a lot better. I think there was a couple of chances where we could have scored. I remember Joao Pedro had that chance where he either should have just taken a shot or he should have squared it to Tyreek George. But yeah, I think what happened, he held on for it too long, got tackled. I think there was another chance Willian Esteval should have maybe gone for the far post as opposed to the near one. But end of the day, we won the game 2-0. Enzo Maresca did make a very, very questionable decision in that game, which I didn't like. But obviously, I'll let him off because we got the 3 points. Bringing on Tyreek George for the injured Liam Delap. Now, Liam Delap did tear his hamstring. He did tear his hamstring, which isn't great. It is not great at all because now that Pedro as our striker option. Because we'll talk about Nicholas Jackson in a bit, but he tore his hamstring. He's going to be out for at least 2 months, which is not good. Not good because he was playing well. He didn't score, but he was actually playing well. And as I say, that leaves us short in the striking department now with Joao Pedro as our only real vocal point. And if he goes down, touch wood, that leaves us with Pedro Neto as a false line again. So on that front, that is concerning. I hope Liam Delap's okay. But devastating to get an injury like so soon into your Chelsea career. It really is. And he was one of the bright sparks on the pitch in the first 10 minutes up until he got injured. But Liam Delap, I hope you're okay. But what Enzo Maresca did is he brought on Tyreek George to play the striker role for Liam Delap, which I'll never understand for multiple reasons. Me personally, I don't even think Tyreek George should have come on, and that's nothing against him, the player himself. But we've been hearing all sorts saying that he's on his way out, that Chelsea are looking to sell him, get the pure profit. We heard links about Roma not long ago, and you spent £50 million on an attacking player from Dortmund, and Tyreek George is on his way out, is ahead of him, which makes no sense. You could have, and also Tyreek George is not a striker anyway. I've never seen him play. I mean, someone said to me that he played there against Man United last season, but he wasn't effective then. That was the only time we've seen him play there. Tyreek George as a striker was, for me, a very odd and baffling decision. There were other options you could have done. You could have brought on Gittins, as I say, move Esteval into the 10, push Pedro Neto out on the right, and then put Joao Pedro up front. You could have brought James in midfield, pushed Enzo up. Could have brought Santos in midfield, pushed Enzo up. There were other options he could have done, but that one was weird and baffling for me. But yeah, so if we drop points again, I would have looked at Maresca on that. But we didn't. So that's what we did. But yeah, with Tyreek George, he looked lost. And that's not his fault. He's not a striker. But the physicality of players like Anderson, Calvin Bassey, just don't think he can handle it. And yeah, so at the end of the day, we came out of the game with 3 points. As I say, second half we did a lot better. We got the penalty, which is another decision we have to talk about, because it was a handball. It was a handball, but it was a handball, blatant handball. Sessegnon had his arm like this. It was an unnatural position. It was a handball. But if you actually watch the build up in there, Joao Pedro also had his hand, also handballed it. So the referee chose to ignore that, but they gave the penalty. Again, Fulham can also feel hard done by that. It's another baffling decision, man. And it's just, if that went against us, we'd all be fuming, our Chelsea fans. Let's be honest. But end of the day, Enzo Fernandez stepped up, scored the penalty. I'm surprised he took it. I would have thought Joao Pedro would have taken it, but that might have just been me thinking for the sake of my FPL team. But yeah, and we see the game out. Fulham didn't really pose too much threat other than that. I remember there was that one block from Caicedo, who was brilliant today, by the way. And yeah, we see out the game. We get the 3 points, and we take that. Tottenham also lost today as well, which is nice. Man United got a last-minute penalty, and they beat Burnley. They've not celebrated like they won the Champions League against Burnley at Old Trafford. How the mighty have fallen. But yeah, so that was the Fulham game. I'm happy with the 3 points, and obviously we go into the international break, 7 points out of 9, and we take that. Now the news, obviously, as I mentioned, Liam Delap is now injured, so we are going to need another striker, because as I said, we needed another striker even after signing both. Even after I heard the news that Nicholas Jackson was going to be leaving the club, I said we needed another striker, and this is exactly why. Now, in regards to Nicholas Jackson, we got the here we go yesterday, or was it this morning? No, it was this morning, I think. Him going to Bayern Munich on loan, with an option to buy around 80 million euros, I believe it was. And so we got the here we go from Fabrizio for that. And over the past couple of hours, there's been all sorts of news. After the game at full time, we heard the news that Chelsea are recalling Jackson back. They're cancelling the loan, which I think was the right decision, because we need that third striker. And so we thought he was coming back, and then we got another report saying that the camp are refusing, and they don't want to send him back. He's in Germany right now. He's just about to do his medical, and they don't want to send him back. But I don't think Nicholas Jackson and West Ham have much say when it comes to this, because I don't think documents have been exchanged between Chelsea and Bayern Munich as of yet. So I don't really think it's in his hands. I think the decision comes down to Chelsea. So if they want him back, there's nothing really he can do. So in that sense, you can kind of like feel for Nicholas Jackson, because he was being forced out of the club, pushed out of the club, and now all of a sudden, as he's getting moved to Bayern Munich, where he could get more game time, he has to be called back. So you can feel for him on that front. But I think it's the right decision to call him back for Chelsea's perspective. I do think it is, and I think he'll get game time now, because I actually think Joao Pedro does better when he's got Liam Delap on the pitch, because I think the pressure isn't just on him to score the goals and be the vocal point. Liam Delap could be the one to hold up the play, feed off the ball, feed the ball off to Esteval and Joao Pedro, etc. And then Joao Pedro can be more in the central where he can create and also score goals. And I think that's where he thrived. We saw that in the West Ham game last week, and we saw that today in the second half, anyway, because I didn't think he was that impressive in the first half. And then we also got another bit of news regarding Fermin Lopez and the fact that we put in a 40 million euro bid, which for me came out of nowhere and doesn't make an awful lot of sense because Chelsea tend to agree personal terms with the player before doing any form of club-to-club contact. And all of a sudden it came out from Fabrizio that we put the bid in. Now we have been hearing reports about Fermin Lopez for the past couple of days that we've been apparently Enzo Maresca had a conversation with the player, but nothing was confirmed on whether or not he actually wants to leave Barca or not. There was no personal terms agreed or anything. So for me, this kind of screams of just like Fabrizio putting out the brief to kind of appease the fans. Obviously, Chelsea fans are going to be frustrated, obviously due to the Xavi Simons saga. He got announced at Tottenham today. He is now a Tottenham player after us not chasing him for months. We weren't even chasing him. We had personal terms agreed, but we just left it at that. We were waiting for Nkunku to be sold, but that's what we were told anyway. And we just didn't put a bid in. And end of the day, Tottenham came in and signed him. So it wasn't really a hijack. Tottenham just signed their player ahead of us. So yeah, it was so you can understand why Chelsea fans would be frustrated of that. The Fermin Lopez thing, if it is true and the 40 million bid did go in, there's no way Barca accept that, which you can understand, which is understandable in business terms because everyone wants to get, if you want something, you want to get it for as low of a price as possible, and the other party wants to get as much as they can. So maybe they meet somewhere in the middle, but I just don't believe the bid was actually put in, if I'm being 100% honest. But we'll see. If Fermin Lopez was to come to Chelsea, I'd be happy because I think he's a great alternative to Xavi Simons. He's a quality player. We also got the Garnacho announcement today as well. He was at Stamford Bridge watching the game, and we got the announcement short after. It's a very weird announcement. It was a picture of Enzo Fernandez going like this. It goes, "Hold on, what's that?" I think it was like the caption was, "Hold on, what's that?" And then there's a picture of Garnacho. It's very fair play to the admin, whoever came up with that. So yeah, that's kind of been Chelsea's day really. We got the 3 points against Fulham. It was I wouldn't call it a smash and grab because it was a 2-0 win, but it was a very lucky performance, should I say. And we need to, once we come back from the international break, we need to put in a bit more of a convincing performance against Brentford, I think. And we'll see what happens in regard what Chelsea do in terms of deadline day, whether or not Jackson does come back, whether or not we go in for a last minute striker. We'll see. But thank you guys for watching. Drop a comment, smash a like, hit that follow button, and I'll see you guys soon.